Hello, good day everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to respond to part one of Megan Connor's four-part response to Lauren Matthias's 9-hour live video accusing Christina of being a stalker. My credentials are that I am an ex-mechanic with an English degree. I have no mental health credentials, no particular legal knowledge, nothing like that. These are just my opinions. I am doing this for, your entertainment and mine. And yeah, so why not get started? Here we go.
So wait, so tell me why I don't obviously want to go to jail.
Right.
So I can be in my hotel room.
Yeah.
And can I hang out like in the bar with my friends at night?
But as long as it's not the crime time convention and you're not within 500 feet of her or the other named parties that are on this.
I am just a poor boy.
Okay. So I was going to first comment on the clip that she used there and the photo. But then she started in with the lyrics from The Boxer, it sounds like, which is cringe. So anyway, that threw me off a little bit. I wanted to mention that she is using a photograph of Christina to show her point, which is that Christina was within 500 feet of Lauren at CrimeCon. I assume that that was a photo taken by Joe Schmo, who was among their compatriots throughout this. And I think we all know already that Christina was in the restaurant or the bar or whatever. The police had told her she could be in there. And so she's kind of twisting things a little bit here to make her narrative, and that's not a great way to be starting off, in my opinion. But to follow it up by quoting Simon and Garfunkel is pretty cringe, to my mind. But here we go.
Though my story is seldom told, I have squandered my resistance for a pocket full of mumbles, such are promises. All lies and jest. Still a man hears what he wants to hear and disregards the rest.
Ah, I see. Okay. So, okay, that's where she's gonna go along with Dr. John's confirmation bias. Sounds like, only she's using everybody's favorite Simon and Garfunkel to make her point instead of a textbook. And she looks pretty smug just there, to my mind. And she also looks very blurry, and as though she is using filters to cover up any blemishes she might have on her face. So again, I know that women are often under a lot of pressure to be, to conform to gender norms of beauty, and aging is not something that a lot of women struggle with aging because of that. But I understand Megan is 50-ish, and it seems very unlikely to me that she doesn't have any wrinkles on her face. So just making note that her personal presentation on this is phony, so.
I've always loved the lyrics of Paul Simon. I grew up listening to Simon and Garfunkel, 8 tracks in my 1972 Beetle when I was a high school student. And when I started getting comments on my page about the audio recording of Lauren.
So that was just a little bit of nostalgia, a little bit of pathos, a little bit of get you on side. Yeah, me too. I remember that too. I'm with you, Megan.
Matthias's stalking injunction hearing, it reminded me of this song. Because after I listened to the audio, I started to wonder if the people commenting on my page and I had heard the same court hearing.
Okay, so it seems like the projection is going to be strong with this one, too. And by the look on her face, she seems like she's very convinced of what she heard. I literally just listened to the court audio again yesterday, so it's quite fresh in my mind. So let's hear what Megan has to say.
It became very apparent to me that people who had chosen a side were disregarding a lot of the information that was presented in court, and they were failing to recognize some of the things that the judge said. And I wrote it off to maybe, if you haven't been a party to civil litigation before.
I mean, she's describing the hidden gems, to my mind. And she's going to say, but she thinks that she's describing Lauren's detractors, and she's going to say that it's, she's going to give people grace because they don't understand civil litigation the way that she does.
Maybe you're not familiar with the terms petitioner and respondent that designate a person who files a lawsuit and a person who responds to that lawsuit. And I'm not here
I mean, I think most of us can figure that out, but maybe she's right.
trying to convince anybody of anything, because I believe, as my grandfather once said, that a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still.
So again, this is a little bit of pathos, a little bit of ethos. We don't have any logic yet. We have a little bit more of Dr. John's confirmation bias, and the insistence that people will stake a position and refuse to change it regardless of new information, and we have already debunked that fact as it relates to this situation multiple times, but she's trotting it out again anyway.
But my own subscribers had questions. Understandably so. This is a confusing situation.
Oh, so she's doing this for her subscribers because it's a confusing situation, which this is the third one now, right? We've heard Lauren say it's so hard to explain. We've heard Grayson say it's so confusing. And we've now heard Megan say it's so confusing. And to my mind, it's not confusing. It's very straightforward. Lauren has been caught out at what she's been doing behind the scenes and has been exposed. And her reaction has been to lash out with the police, with law enforcement and the courts to try to keep it shut down. There's a lot of people involved, a lot of moving pieces, but it's not complicated. And, pardon me, I feel like it's a manipulation on the part of all of these people so far to suggest that it is complicated when it's not.
There are lots of narratives being put out there. There are medium-sized creators doing 6-hour live streams about a 2-hour video.
Medium-sized creators, eh? She got a problem with medium-sized creators for some reason. I wonder how she feels about new creators.
There's a lot of vitriol out there. There's a lot of hate speech. And I just want to be a voice of reason.
Again, so I haven't heard a lot of vitriol or hate speech. She's saying that. So to me, what she's doing is what they have all done so far, which is they have characterized anybody who is questioning Lauren's spotless morality as vitriolic and haters. We had Grayson yesterday. I think I was talking about Grayson calling people haters. Was it Grayson or was it was maybe Trisha? But either way, right? It's not a great way to start a conversation with someone that you are hoping to, lay out some facts for.
Because I'm not trying to convince anybody to change their mind. In fact, I don't believe that I can change anybody's mind. But I do want to present the facts.
So I feel like that's a little bit disingenuous. I feel like in many ways that's what I want to do is lay out some facts. And I'm hoping to change some people's minds by laying out the facts. And, I will acknowledge that there are some people who are not interested in the facts. But I think there are many, many people who are interested in the facts. And I have seen a fair amount of evidence of that in my comment section and in the chats during premieres and stuff like that. So, again, the framing is odd, but it helps with the narrative.
I want to listen to the entire audio of the hearing, and I want people to just make a determination for themselves. Yes, I'm going to express my opinion, But at the same time, I want you to listen to the entirety of the audio and not skip over the things that give you cognitive dissonance. In these types of situations, it's really easy for people to choose a side and then continue to repeat the talking points that support their side's arguments.
So I don't know about you guys, but I have listened to the audio 3 or 4 times now, and I've listened to it from the beginning to the end 3 or 4 times. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what she's talking about, who is doing that. Unless it's like hidden gems or whatever people.
I'll give you an example of a couple of comments that I've received on my YouTube channel since I came out in defense of Lauren Matthias and her stalking injunction. Here's one. Please stop calling her a name she's never been convicted of. Read all the court documents. I know people want to stand by their friends, but it's important to be accurate. The judge ruled it definitely. Then it has to be put out. Here's another one. I think you're backing the wrong horse on this one. You may very well end up with a lawsuit. The judge categorically stated that Christina was not a stalker and that it was abundantly clear to him that Lauren's intention was to silence Christina's free speech. Go and listen to the court hearing in the judge's own words for yourself. You are looking very silly right now. Well, we are going to listen to the court hearing.
So neither of those, the judge didn't say either of those things in completely unequivocal terms. There was no final ruling in the end. Because Lauren canceled the hearing. But he did make some very pointed points, you know. So, and I think that's what the people who made those comments were referring to. And I don't see how she can argue that, but she may be able to argue the specific he didn't categorically rule or whatever. But I don't think that makes a material difference to the substance of what he said. So if that's what she's going to do, it's going to be just, you can ignore it.
In its entirety. And I'm going to stop along the way and point out some things that I think are really, really important. Here's another thing.
She's going to do exactly what she just said other people were doing, but she was complaining about it. She's going to go through and pick out the talking points that she thinks are salient. So, hypocrite.
I'm going to address today. Another comment. Did you and Joe engage in taking fake pictures and videos at CrimeCon to get Christina arrested? Joe admitted to moving closer and closer so the pics could be taken for Lauren. Stop it. Y'all is disgraceful. I'm going to address that one too. Now, I did say in my previous live stream defending Lauren Matthias that we were friends, but honestly, that doesn't even matter anymore because as a person who reports on crime cases and a person who investigates different aspects of crime, what matters to me is the truth. And what matters to me in this case are two things and two things only. Number one.
Okay, I just want to say that, she is using a very reasonable tone, and she's got some reasonable points. I would agree with her that what matters here is the truth. So that is going to convince some people on its face, right? That they're going to take, oh, she cares about the truth, so obviously that everything that she points out following this is the truth. And they are not going to say, well, she's saying she's interested in the truth, but are these things that she's pointing out the truth, or are they part of a narrative? So that's what we're going to look out for.
Did what happened to Lauren Matthias meet the legal criteria for stalking, or did it not? Number one, because that's the other comment I get all the time. This wasn't even stalking. People who are victims of stalking have come out and said, I'm a real victim of stalking. This was not it.
Not sure what the quotation marks are there for. The real victims of stalking. It makes it seem like she's saying people aren't real victims of stalking.
We're going to go over that. Did this meet the legal definition of stalking, number one? And number two, was the stalking order violated? I mean, spoiler alert, yes, it met the legal definition for stalking because the judge issued a temporary stalking injunction.
Okay, so we know already that the judge doesn't have any choice. It's a very, very low bar. All that has to be done to get a judge to sign a temporary restraining order is somebody has to go in and make allegations about someone else. They don't have to be true. They just have to be allegations, and the judge has no choice. So she's already framing this wrong right away, right off the get-go.
Don't issue that if they don't believe that stalking is actually happening. So,
right? She's wrong on the face of it right off the get-go here. It's extremely frustrating. As far as I know, she hasn't retracted any of this.
Everyone who is saying that this wasn't stalking, stop. Because the bottom line is, the judge issued a temporary stalking injunction. And by the way, I'm going to give you another spoiler. After we listen to the entire audio of the stalking hearing that took place after.
So the weird thing, right, she's framing herself as this very reasonable person who's asking these are the two important questions and all that, but she's not giving the actual background to answer that question. She's saying the judge wouldn't have signed it, and that's just not true. So either she's a liar or she doesn't know what she's talking about and she hasn't bothered to find out if it's true. So either way, there's no there.
Crime con took place after the stalking injunction had been issued and served to the respondent. There was a hearing. We're going to listen to the full audio of it. And at the end of that hearing, the judge upholds the stalking injunction. If he didn't believe that it was actually stalking, he would have vacated it at that point. So there are some spoilers for you, but we're going to go through everything.
So again, right, she's giving false information here. He didn't have all of the evidence that he needed to make a decision. He didn't, the hearing wasn't completed. So she's making it seem like he had all the information and he upheld it. He didn't have any choice to uphold it because the evidence had not all been presented yet. So again, she's presenting herself here as an expert on this stuff and she doesn't know what she's talking about. And I can only guess that she's getting her information from Lauren rather than from real life.
And again, I'm not trying to convince anybody who is on the opposite side. Those of you who dislike Lauren Matthias, who think that she's done something wrong, who think that this was not really stalking, who think that she's out here trying to vilify an innocent person, I'm not trying to change your mind because I can't. I can't change anybody's mind. All I can do is present factual information and allow you to make your own determination. And the only reason I'm doing this video is not for all the haters who have come to my channel to make negative comments about me.
There we go again with calling people haters. And saying, I can't change anybody's mind. Like, of course you can change people's mind. What do you think the art of rhetoric that has been practiced these many thousands and thousands of years by human beings is about? What do you think sales is about? What do you think anything is about in this world? Megan? She's trying to come off as this level-headed and reasonable, analyst of this situation, and she just is coming off as a twit. Honestly, just a twit.
Or about my position, because I literally don't care about that. I don't care about the medium-sized creators who are out there doing 4 or 5 hour live streams to cover a 2-hour video where all they do is...
So she's said it twice, and now she's here to say that she doesn't care about it. So obviously she cares about it, and she seems to have judgments about it. So again, these are signs that she's lying, either on purpose or unconsciously, but you can take that as maybe I need to listen closely to her claims, because already on the face of it, she is being disingenuous and doesn't clearly know the facts.
Tear down Lauren and Dr. John and Grayson and Joe and me and whatever. I don't care about any of that. The reason I'm doing this video is because my own subscribers have come to me with questions.
And again, right, the way the framing of it is that people are tearing them down. People are revealing them. People are explaining what has happened and talking about the significance of that to the true crime community. So, again, is it tearing Lori Vallow down to reveal the things that she did? No, it absolutely is not. And nobody would frame it that way. So anybody who's framing this way has a very clear bias, but she's trying to present herself as this unbiased, just the facts, ma'am. But her language is giving her away.
Questions, and understandably so. It is a difficult situation to untangle, and so that's why I'm narrowing it down to these 2 things. Number 1, did it meet the legal definition of stalking? And number 2, was the stalking injunction violated? Those are the only 2 things that really matter to me in this. So that's why I say it doesn't matter that Lauren is my friend, because I'm going to go through all the evidence. If it didn't meet the legal definition of stalking, I wouldn't be out here saying what I'm saying. And number 2, was the stalking injunction violated? Because is it possible for us to remove the names from the situation and care about this from the standpoint that was a law broken? If a law was broken, we all should be against that. What a lot of people are telling me by their comments about this is that you don't care that a law was broken. Some of you...
So I don't think that that's actually true. And again, like, she's going to frame it in a way that's going to go with the narrative that Lauren is the victim here. Excuse me. But if you are looking at this situation from the beginning and how it all unfolded, then you know that by the time they took their little picture of Christina in the bar at CrimeCon, less than 500 feet away from Lauren, you know that Lauren has already been filing false police reports and using the police as her own personal, security service, and manufacturing, in an attempt to manufacture evidence to frame Christina, or to frame someone, right? Like, we've seen the body cam footage now. We know what she was up to. So it seems like, she's gonna present the evidence, but I need to see what her evidence is, because it doesn't seem like she has the actual evidence, but she has pieces of a narrative, which is what she was complaining that other people were doing.
You don't know what the law is, and that's why we're going to go over a little bit of that today. But part two is, what you're telling me is that if you support the respondent in this case, you are okay with somebody bullying and harassing another person. You are okay with...
Okay, so I don't believe that Christina was bullying and harassing Lauren. So she's taking it as read that that's what Christina was doing, and that you're okay with that. And it's, again, like, it's pretty thin on the logic. Like, it's a pretty big leap, because we don't have, like, where's her evidence that Christina was stalking and harassing Lauren? She hasn't showed that evidence yet, so she can't make that leap until she shows that evidence. It's very Dr. John here, right? Making huge, sweeping statements without the actual logical, stepping stones in place.
Somebody making an entire social media profile, in fact, multiple social media profiles, with the express intent of defaming and harassing somebody. You're telling me that behavior...
Again, so she is assuming Christina's motivations, and she's presenting that as fact, and then making logical leaps from that. And she wants you to follow that and not question the fact that she's missing all kinds of evidence that she promised to show you. So I'm not impressed with Megan Connor's defense of Lauren so far.
Is okay. If you're telling me First Amendment at all costs, you're telling me that it's okay to tell lies about a person.
So again, right? It's wild that I think that she actually perceives and experiences herself as the voice of reason here. Facts not in evidence. I haven't seen anybody saying that they support free speech at all costs. No one. Except I've seen Dr. John and his thought experiment trying to imply that that was what was going on. But I have not seen a single person that say that they're in favor of free speech at any cost. Not one person. So facts not in evidence, and logical deductions based on facts not in evidence. More of the same.
But we're going to address that too, because there's a very specific point in the hearing where one of the attorneys makes a distinction between free speech and what's happening here. And I think that's a very important legal point to consider.
It's probably one of the lawyers on Lauren's side, and I don't know. I can't remember exactly who makes the point. But again, she is presenting arguments made by lawyers as legal facts. And that's what Dr. John was doing. And we know that the judge was rejecting some of these arguments based on the very straightforward comments he made about... hang on a sec, hang on.
I'm going to have a lot more to...
Sorry. Okay, stop. It's okay, it's the neighbors. Stop. Thanks. It's okay. It's just Amy. Good boy. Yes, he's very upset about Amy. Sorry, she's going to be putting out the trash. I lost my train of thought. I'll go back and listen, so I don't know what happened there.
Say about that, but my main point right here is that I want to address those 2 points. So if you do a simple search on the legal definition of stalking in Nevada, you're probably going to get results from a lot of different law firms that represent stalking cases in Nevada. But they do cite the official Nevada state law on this, which is...
So it wasn't Nevada, though, right? They were in Utah. Point number 1.
Section 200.575 of the Nevada statutes, which has been revised recently to reflect. In Nevada, stalking is defined as a willful and malicious pattern of conduct that harasses, frightens, or intimidates another person, causing them to fear for their safety or that of a family member. And the reason I'm citing Nevada law is because that's the state in which Lauren Matthias resides. Now, the definition is similar in Utah, from the Utah legislature. Utah Code Section 76-5-106.5. In Utah, stalking is defined as a course of conduct involving 2 or more acts that the perpetrator knows or should know would cause a reasonable person to fear for their safety or suffer substantial emotional distress.
So, yeah.
This conduct can include repeated following, monitoring, communicating directly or indirectly. That indirectly is an important point, about the person or interfering with their property. The act is considered a crime when it is intentional and would cause a reasonable person to experience fear or distress.
Okay, but you're talking about, like, she's interpreting it very narrowly. And we know from Officer Bovey that somebody threatening to reveal the things that you've done is not stalking, and it's not against the law. So, and it's not extortion or anything like that. So, you know, like if somebody is threatening you or threatening you with physical violence. Hold on a second again, sorry. It's frustrating not being able to control the entire world while I'm recording. I've lost my train of thought again. Yeah, so she's making implications here without the facts being in evidence. So, like saying things that a normal person would be extremely upset by or whatever, like a reasonable person. So, like, but you have to take into account the reasonable person. Like, it's not reasonable to be backstabbing people and being this horrible, you know, grifter that Lauren has been. So that's not reasonable in the first place. And I think that's really clear here, and it's a distinction that she's not making. Like, you know, by the definition that she's kind of applying here, that would mean that she would be on side with nobody ever being able to publicly make comments about someone they know that has definitely broken the law and saying that they're going to reveal that. Like, I don't think that that's what she would mean to say. Like, is she trying to defend murderers and, you know, essayers and stuff like that? Because that's kind of where that would go, right? That you can't say anything about anybody online, even if you have evidence of it. And I don't think that that's what the law is trying to uphold. And I don't think that that's what they mean by a reasonable person.
The key elements are that the course of conduct must consist of 2 or more specific acts. The perpetrator must intend the actions that are part of the course of conduct. In other words, they did it intentionally. The perpetrator must know that their actions would cause fear or emotional distress in a reasonable person. And then the victim impact. The conduct must cause a reasonable person to fear for their own safety or the safety of others, or cause substantial emotional distress.
So again, I think that where this turns here is on the reasonable person, right? And it's not unreasonable to expose someone's bad behavior. And I don't think that this statute or this law that she's reading out here is intended to cover that.
Examples of stalking behaviors: repeatedly following someone, monitoring, observing, photographing, or surveilling a person.
This is all things that Lauren did. We have, statements from multiple people saying this.
Communicating to or about a person, including through electronic means. Interfering with a person's property. Appearing at a person's workplace or residence, or contacting their coworkers, employer, or neighbors. Sending material to their person, their family, or their associates. So going over some of those key elements. Did the behavior consist of 2 or more specific acts? Yes. After Lauren blocked this person via text, this person contacted them at least twice via email. Unwanted.
But I don't think that's, again, like, she's leaving out a lot here. Like, it's not against the law to contact people's employers or neighbors or whatever and tell them things that other people had been doing. Like, you would certainly feel okay about doing that if you knew that if you had information, factual information about a teacher down at the local elementary school and his, online activities with CSAM. I feel like informing his employers of that would not be considered stalking, right? So she's defending this in a really large way without thinking about what she's actually defending, what she's actually saying.
To contact. Lauren had previously said, please don't contact me. Did the perpetrator intend the actions? Well, yes.
I mean, she would literally be saying that Charles, going around trying to get help in the situation that he was in with Lori, was stalking Lori. That's the extent of what she's talking about.
She intentionally sent those emails. Did the perpetrator know that their actions would...
Which emails? What emails did she intentionally send? What are we talking about?
Cause fear or emotional distress in a reasonable person. Well, this person...
Sorry, maybe she was talking about emails. I'm getting distracted. I'm sorry. Maybe she was talking about emails to people that Lauren knows. Sorry.
Intentionally created multiple social media accounts in which this person accused Lauren of non-consensual SA. Did this person know that would cause emotional distress for Lauren when she had just lost this family member? This family member passed away. Did the person know?
Again, we've been through all of this. We know that Lauren left her little brother's bedside to go to the trial because she felt that that was more important than being with him. We know that she considered the possibility of being a surrogate for his child, and that was evidence in my mind and in the mind of many others that she was willing to go to extremes to center herself in a tragedy, which is also connected to her behavior with victims' families. And again, Megan she thinks she's using logic. I will grant that she probably thinks that this is logical, but she has not considered it from all the angles. And she's spreading Lauren's narrative without knowing really what she's talking about.
That Lauren would experience emotional distress about this person alleging that Lauren had an intent to...
I feel like Lauren experienced the distress about being revealed to be that self-centered. Right?
Say this person and non-consensually use their genetic material? Yeah, I think that fits the definition. And then finally, the victim impact. The conduct must cause a reasonable person to fear for their own safety or the safety of others, or cause substantial emotional distress. I think that doing a 9-hour live stream that was very emotional proves the fact that this conduct caused a substantial emotional distress.
So I'm going to go ahead and guess that Nate Eaton walking up to Lori and sticking his microphone in his face and saying, "Where's your kids?" caused Lori some emotional distress. Is Nate Eaton a stalker?
Examples of stalking behaviors. Was she repeatedly followed? Well, not by the person who is the respondent in this suit, but by people who were...
But we're just going to make that stuff up anyway. We're just going to pile that on even though that didn't happen. Look at her face. Like, you can barely see her face. It's like somebody's erased it. it's as it's as distracting as Lauren's frozen face when she's talking and the rest of her face doesn't move at all. Like it's that much of a mask. It's weird.
In the same
Okay,
group.
so sorry, my phone was failing me again, but I have figured out my storage problems. So I've gone back about 30 seconds here because I don't know when I got cut off exactly. So back to Megan.
Emotional distress. I think that doing a 9-hour live stream that was very emotional proves the fact that this conduct caused a substantial emotional distress. Examples of stalking behaviors: was she repeatedly followed? Well, not by the person who is the respondent in this suit, but by people who were in the same group. Were they monitoring, observing, photographing, or surveilling the person? Well, clearly this individual was monitoring Lauren's actions because this person knew where she was going to be, when she was going to be there, and this person repeatedly made social media posts referring to that fact. Did they communicate to or...
Okay, I haven't seen any evidence of that. Lauren's always saying that she's going to be at trials and where she's going to be and everything. We know that she publicly said she wasn't going to be at CrimeCon. So I'm not sure what point she thinks she's making. But it's probably convincing people who have fallen for her whole "I'm so reasonable" shtick.
About a person, including through electronic means. Yes, we know that this person contacted people that Lauren worked with or previously worked with to say, don't work with her, she's dangerous. Did they appear?
So again, like that's kind of interesting to me that she is saying, that these people are phoning up saying don't work with her, that she's dangerous, but she's not questioning if Lauren is dangerous. Like, I think that's a really salient point, which I was mentioning before, where she seems to be sailing past the fact that there are very legitimate reasons why some people should be revealed as who they are.
At a person's workplace. Yes, the courtroom where Lauren is covering cases is her workplace. That's where she does.
It's also Christina's workplace, as was made quite clear in the court audio that she is apparently referring to so faithfully.
The majority of her work. Did they contact the coworkers, employer, or neighbors? Yeah. This person contacted people that Lauren had worked with in the past and was currently working with to tell them not to work with her anymore. Did they send material to the person, their family, or associates? This person made social media posts, and I can't speak to as whether they sent the material directly to Lauren, but they definitely...
Right, so she doesn't even have all the facts. I mean, to be fair, we don't always have all the facts, but she's describing something here that, like, again, it's like that reasonable person thing. Like, Lauren's not a reasonable person. So none of this really applies, right? Lauren's a dangerous person, which she has skated right past.
Posted that so that Lauren and her associates would see it and would know that it was about Lauren. And that's kind of the point that I'm trying to make, is that the social media aspect of this falls under cyberbullying, because when you make a social media account about a person and it's specifically designed to harass that person, to annoy, to threaten that person, and we'll get into some of that in just a little bit.
Again, facts not in evidence. I don't know how she can know what the intent was behind Christina's social media accounts. And I feel like the judge would want to know that.
With the hearing. Now, the judge in this case granted Lauren a temporary stalking injunction, known as a civil stalking injunction. That injunction was served to the respondent, and then that respondent violated the stalking injunction. So what...
Okay, I want to see evidence of her violating it. I want to see what evidence she's going to present of Christina violating the civil stalking injunction.
What I want to do is just a thought experiment for just a minute. Can we remove the names from this? Because if we look at this objectively...
Again, this is not a thought experiment, but okay.
And we look at Lauren Matthias not as a friend of mine, but just as a person. And we look at the respondent as not just somebody that I met one time and have an opinion about, but just as a person. Let's just talk about it in legal terms. And by the way, that's why the courts do it this way. The person filing the lawsuit is the petitioner. I petition.
Right, and the courts don't have people like Megan, who doesn't know what she's talking about, laying out the facts. They have lawyers and law professionals doing it, not YouTubers. Like, I wouldn't be there defending Christina in court in any position other than as a witness, and half of what I might have to say might not be considered relevant in that court of law. Just like what she's saying here is not relevant in that court of law.
In the court for relief from this. The person receiving the lawsuit is the respondent. In other words, I'm going to respond to these allegations and we're going to have a discussion about it. That's how it works. So from now on, I'm not going to use the names. I'm just going to say petitioner, person who filed the lawsuit, and respondent, person who received the filing. So in this case,
again, this is like designed to make you think that she's being super reasonable and that she has no bias. But we've already heard the language that she has used about haters and tearing people down, when it's not haters and they're not tearing people down. So
the petitioner went into court and presented their evidence, and the judge looked at the evidence and said, yes, this meets the legal definition for stalking. I'm going to grant you a civil stalking injunction. The respondent received that injunction, read it, and was served that injunction by the police department of Aurora, Colorado at CrimeCon on September 5th of 2025. And this is how the respondent took that interaction.
I think it's a no contact order.
Oh, I've never contacted her.
So, but there's other people listed in it that you are not allowed to contact.
I just want to point out that the first response is that I've never contacted her. And we know that that's not true because
do we? When did she contact her?
after the petitioner blocked the respondent via text, the respondent emailed her at least twice.
Where's the evidence for that? I haven't seen any evidence of that. Do people have evidence of that? I have not watched Lauren's 9-hour live, and I don't know what she has put up there presenting as evidence, but if people know what she's talking about, please share.
Trying to go through it and go to
No, but like, how is this even approved? Because these, like, I have done literally.
It's an application process. It's an application that's done through the judge.
I know, but like, I want to, like, how do I might be at credit fund, but
Well,
I'm a rookie, so like, obviously he had to say something to be able to get this signed.
It's an application process that has to go through. You go to court, you apply for it. If the judge deems that it's necessary, the judge will grant it.
Okay.
So whatever she put in the application and whatever evidence she presented, the judge obviously agreed with it and issued it.
Okay.
And to me, that's the bottom line. The judge obviously agreed with it and issued.
Right, the judge agreed with it based on one side only, and we don't know what, like, I mean, it could have been a pack of lies, right? Like, I don't know what evidence she presented. Maybe other people do. I'm sorry.
Issued it. Period.
But, okay, so wait, so tell me, but I don't obviously want to go to jail.
Right.
So I can be in my hotel room.
Yeah.
And can I hang out, like, in front of my friends at night?
As long as it's not the CrimeCon convention and you're not within 500 feet of her or the other named parties that are on.
So there's the respondent specifically asking if she can be in the bar. And the officer clearly tells her, as long as you're not within 500 feet of the petitioner or the other named parties.
I would just read through it and know what you can and can't do and just use those as guidelines and don't violate it. Because it's no contact, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit.
I've never been in contact
It's all listed in there.
I know, I've never, like, literally not one time ever, since ending my friendship with her, have I contacted her at all, other than a response to...
So apparently, Megan is only interested in Lauren's evidence because Christina's statements are evidence, right? And she's saying, I've never contacted her, like, directly.
message you something.
So again, a denial that the respondent has ever contacted the petitioner. However, in the injunction, she is prohibited from making messages on any social media platform that are harassing or threatening. And if you go to her...
But she's just getting the thing right now. She's literally just getting it right now.
her TikTok account, which I'm not going to show here because you can go look for it yourself if you want to, there are over 70 posts on TikTok and another 30 posts on Instagram, some of which are duplicates, but multiple accounts that were made with the specific intention of harassing this person.
So 2 is multiple now. Okay. We're not trying to shape a narrative of in any way here, are we, Megan?
And the audio from the court hearing is going to corroborate that fact.
Of all her, even though, like, Utah law around that, just because I was a little worried, like, my friends. It's just unfortunate. But, sorry.
It's okay. Do you have any other questions?
No, okay, no, I mean, I can answer them.
Okay.
Do you guys have, like, a phone number I can call if I do think of any, like,
So,
oh, yeah.
My contact information is on there as well, my email address.
Okay, just because I don't know, you know, right now I'm clearly, for some reason, emotional.
we're working
So,
here, so
for my makeup.
we're sorry we did that.
No, not you guys. My freaking body wrote that, right? Yeah, no, I saw, I mean, there was one moment yesterday where I immediately went to security and got behind here. I mean, I got behind here, behind the security, just to say, you don't want to hear that.
No, I understand. And you could also, if the harassment keeps going that way, you could apply for a protective order against her. It's your right
I
as
kind
well.
of wanted to do that yesterday too. That's why I was
That's also evidence, right? Isn't it? The cop saying that she can also apply for a protective order?
trying to I have the case report for that yesterday just because I'm like,
So why didn't you file your own stalking injunction? If you believed you were being harassed before this, I'm asking the respondent. So if you really believe...
Maybe because she's not a psychotic liar like Lauren? Like, what the...
that you were being harassed for such a long time, why didn't you go file your own stalking injunction? Just curious.
Just asking questions.
I'm all living on this for harassing me. Not done what you've done that someone else uses the police as a weaponizing police.
So this is a narrative that I've heard a lot out there in comments that I've gotten on my own channel, that the petitioner was weaponizing the police to harass the respondent.
So now that all the body cam footage is out, I'm sure that Megan has gone and watched it, and she's going to retract these statements that she's making right here.
Now, if you have a legal basis to file a harassment claim or to file for a stalking injunction, is that weaponizing the police, or is that actually using the police to do what the police were intended to do?
Except that we know that a lot of it was lies, and Lauren manufactured things to make it look like it was worse than it was. We know that from the very first minute that Officer Bovey entered Grayson's apartment, and they said, Grayson, I believe it was, said that we have evidence that they have hacked her accounts. So that's a lie, right? That's a straight up lie. So if that's the kind of evidence that Lauren was presenting to the courts, then those are lies. And that would have come out in the hearing, which is why she canceled it.
Which is to serve and protect the people of this country, of the state, of the county. Filing a legal document and then having the police enforce it is not weaponizing the police. Here's another thing that I would like.
Unless you're lying and doing it to protect yourself from being exposed rather than to protect yourself from being stalked.
People to please consider as we go through and we listen to...
So this video is going to end in about 2 minutes, and she's never going to have listened to any of the court audio. So in a way, to my mind, that's kind of like, that was the promise at the beginning, right? We're going to go through all the court audio and we're going to see everything. But she's ending this video without doing that, and she has left all of these, untruths and this narrative that she's spinning and this very particular language over here for you to stew in until next time, right? So again, it's like, it's a kind of a manipulation to my mind. Like, I know there's a lot here and you can't necessarily always do it in the first go, right? Like, I couldn't do that Dr. John's. It took me 5 times to get through his thing. So I get that. But she has made all of the accusations in this, and then she's left it. And she's going to end it with just the accusations hanging there.
What the petitioner did, as we listen to what the respondent did. What if the respondent was male? Would you feel the same way about the petitioner's actions and the respondent's response?
Again, the respondent's not male, and we don't need thought experiments. We have the real thing right in front of us. So again, this is another manipulation. It's another pathos that is being, another attempt at to disguise pathos as logos, to get you on side with, oh, what if it was a man? Oh, that would be really scary.
What if the petitioner was a female asking for a stalking injunction against a male? What if the male said the things that this respondent is saying to the police?
Things like, Lauren's a bad friend. She's a liar and she has harmed people.
What if the male then showed up at the bar that night and was within feet of the petitioner? Would you?
But she was already there, right? And I'm going to guess that if it was a male and Lauren was that terrified that she would have stayed home in the first place. So this little thought experiment is missing a lot of thoughts.
Feel the same way? What if the respondent violated a legal stalking injunction not once, not twice, but 6 times?
Again, it becomes quite clear on the court audio that 3 of the 6, violations were literally like posting things online, and the judge made it very clear that posting things online is free speech, not stalking. Like saying things about people online is not stalking.
How would you feel about the petitioner then, if the respondent was male?
Why are we imagining situations when we have one right in front of us? Like, what is this supposed to do? It's a manipulation. Again, these people are all so manipulative, and they think that they're right, and it's just infuriating.
Because I've talked to more than one female, and myself included, over the last several days that have said, yep, I had a stalker, I filed an injunction, or I got a temporary restraining order, and the police told me that basically there was nothing that they could do for me unless the person attacked me. And in 2 separate cases, 2 women who don't even know each other, both of them, their response was, so basically you're telling me that if I have a stalker, there's nothing you...
Again, so things that haven't happened in this situation, that aren't relevant to this situation. It's right up there with Ed Wallace and his, it's just like Fatal Attraction. Soon there will be boiling bunnies. Like, these things didn't happen, and they don't relate to this case.
You can do for me unless they attack me or unless I'm dead. And the police responded, yep, that's basically what it's like to have the stalking laws that we have right now. It is terrifying to be a female in this country and to have stalking laws that don't actually protect us from real stalkers.
Okay, so yeah, she chose to end her video with the pathos appeal to the extreme. Again, by describing a situation that didn't happen, and that Lauren is not in. So I feel like that's a manipulation. She doesn't think it is. She thinks it's a really good point. But in fact, what she's doing is leaving her viewers stewing in this idea that it's terrifying to be a woman. And that Lauren is just this innocent woman, this innocent victim who is being, victimized by the villain Christina, which is the same narrative that Dr. John was trying to sell. So, yeah. Once again, thank you all for being here. Thank you for liking and sharing and subscribing. If you haven't done that, I'd be grateful if you did. Let me know if you want me to carry on with the other 3 parts. They might have a little more substance to them. And have a wonderful day.